Alright, this is a video for the section G, the hooked elastic bands. Now this was my original prototype. Here, let me adjust the lighting here. But this was my original prototype of the device, and it did not have a handle on it. And as a result, when you wrap it around something, and this thing's, actually hooked together, it tends to be flush up against the object. So it's really hard to actually grab that hook and release it. But again, I for the longest time, I thought this would be good, product for like architectural plans from back in my, the days when I used to be a draftsman. And I guarantee you they still use big prints and sets of plans today, just like they did back then, because computer monitors aren't 2 feet by 3 feet wide or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that, it can also be used for like linoleum, like when you done linoleum on a floor and you got excess linoleum. Well, right now you have to wrap that up with tape, and of course that comes done and it leaves adhesive all over it eventually, and this makes a mess of things. Well, with something like this, either small units like this or bigger industrial size versions of it, again, you could use it for wrapping things like that up. But again, I just think this is one of those types of things that would have a lot of applications. Because this is my second prototype, the one with a handle on it, and it's, works fairly well. It's not perfect, but it works fairly well. I mean, an example of, and this is hard to do on camera because it still is a two-handed job, but it's hard for me to show you, the process on camera. But basically, let's see if you're getting it there. But basically, it just snaps on like that, and then when you want to remove it, again, the handle is sticking up there, so you can actually grab it, so you can just lift it, get your finger on it, and voila, it's undone. So, and again, to fasten it onto something, let's see if you can get it on camera a little better this time, and, then pick it up, remove it, and you're done. That's way better. If you got a big, long set of architectural plans or whatever, trying to, do rubber bands and get them scooted down to the center or whatnot, using them, having to, twist them up several times and expand them like that, and then get them on there is okay, but it's still time consuming. Trying to get them off, you'll actually eat up quite a bit of time trying to get those stupid rubber bands off sometimes, especially when some people wrap them ultra tight and everything. But something like this would work good for that, as well as many other possible applications that I hadn't even dreamed up yet. But like I said, too, you can take, a pair of these things and, my old prototype plus the new prototype and hook them together. So you can take something like, my bottle of tea here and, kind of, and again, this is hard to do on camera, but kind of, wrap them around like that, and voila. And you see the handle is, easily grabbed, and you got two of them hooked together here, wrapped around a standard 2-liter pop bottle, and whoops, and then, it's off. Now, like I said, the only other way to do that with rubber bands right now is, you can take a rubber band, as I'm sure, you're aware, and, like, string it together like that, and you can do this, of course, as many times, with as many rubber bands as you want. You can take a paper clip, and kind of bend it, out like that, and then string on the rubber band so it works like this, and then you can try to wrap that around. Damn it. Try to wrap that around like that, but now, it's a lot harder to grab this thing and get your fingers under it. To get it off. So, that's the problem I had actually with the original design. Since it didn't have a handle on it, it was hard to grab. That's what I noticed, and that's why I came up with the, idea of having a little handle on it. Again, this isn't an optimum design at all. I mean, I just made this out of a paper clip. But, in practice, making it out of plastic or something a little, even bigger and easier to grab would be nice. But I do think these little things are going to have a lot of applications as people become more and more aware of them. I just think it's one of those things like the paper clip and the rubber band itself that could end up having, taking on a life of its own and becoming a standardized product. I mean, it's very plausible that could happen, but, anyway, time would tell. So, but again, I still favor, the individual discrete rubber bands about this size that have that, because that gives them, all the versatility to be used, like I've demonstrated here, for applications, that are limited kind of by people's imagination, really. So, but at the end of the day, again, I know this certainly will represent some capital investment, to tool up on something like this, because you will need to automate the production of these hooks and the application of them to the rubber band ultimately. But the good thing is, you could do some limited run test marketing, have, a couple of thousand of these made up in a Chinese factory or something, because, they could fabricate something like this kind of like I did, and cheap Chinese labor could make it possible to make several bags of these and see what people think, do kind of a market study. But I do think these things really could find some really good uses. At the end, but yeah, I do think these things could find some good uses. So at any rate, I definitely suggest that you watch the Watch Me Last video, because that'll have any final thoughts and marketing points and everything discussed in it. So, and I thank you for your time.